Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails unprecedented growth of India's defence sector in last 11 years, expresses pride in collective resolve of the citizens to propel India towards greater self-sufficiency. Los Angeles protests over immigration raids escalate in scale and order. Trump deploys Marines in the city even as California governor vows to sue Trump administration. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar addresses the Indian community in Belgium, Luxembourg, discusses steady progress of India-Belgium ties and engagement with the European Union. And the world witnesses extreme weather conditions. Canada's indigenous wildfire evacuees take refuge in Niagara and heavy snowfall traps dozens in Australia. A very good afternoon to all the viewers joining us at this afternoon broadcast. To begin with the latest. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government has completed 11 years in the office. Up next, we revisit government's initiatives to empower and uplift women. In 11 years under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visionary leadership, India has revolutionized its defence capabilities, deepened strategic global partnerships and achieved historic milestones in space exploration. Guided by his resolve for Atmanirbhar Bharat, the nation has embraced self-reliant innovation and expanded its influence in trade and technology. Well, this is the story of India's rise as a confident, decisive and respected global leader driven by Prime Minister Modi's bold vision and unwavering commitment to a stronger Bharat. Celebrating the 11 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's governance in India, Member of the Parliament Anurag Singh Thakur listed data of beneficiaries commending the Ayushman Bharat Yojana.
साल दर साल कैलेंडर बदलता रहा और हमारा भारत आगे बढ़ता रहा। इन 11 वर्षों में नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में भारत ने ऊंचाइयों को छुआ है। 4 करोड़ पक्के मकान बना कर दिए, 12 करोड़ शौचालय हों, 15 करोड़ घरों को नल से जल हो, 11 करोड़ के लगभग बहनों को रसोई गैस का सिलेंडर हो, 60 करोड़ लोगों को 5 लाख रुपए का इलाज आयुष्मान भारत योजना में मुफ्त में मिलना हो और दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी ये स्वास्थ्य योजना है आयुष्मान भारत। और अब तो 70 साल से ज़्यादा वालों को भी 5 लाख का इलाज मुफ्त में है। यहाँ तक कि 81 करोड़ गरीब और ज़रूरतमंदों को मुफ्त अनाज दे रही है, तो मोदी सरकार दे रही है। दुनिया का कोई देश नहीं कर पाया है।
Speaking of Arunachal Pradesh, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs of India, Kiran Rijiju, stated about how the state's development was neglected under Prime Minister and until Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to the rescue.
अभी जाकर के मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हम तेजी से बढ़ने लगा है। अभी हम वर्ल्ड का फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी बन गए हैं। अब कल्पना कीजिए, मोदी जी जैसे नेतृत्व अगर हमको 30-40 साल पहले मिलता, आज हम कहाँ पहुँचना था। समाज के बीच में अपना स्टेट जो अरुणाचल को कोई पूछता नहीं था। हमारा यहाँ का मंत्री जो ऑफिसर जो कोई भी जाएगा दिल्ली में, कोई पूछता नहीं था। ऐसा में अपना नाम अपना काम को दुनिया का सामने में पहुंचाना कितना मेहनत लगता था। उस समय के प्राइम मिनिस्टर, डिफेंस मिनिस्टर, इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स के जितना भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मिनिस्टर को मैं रेगुलर मिलता था। कहाँ अरुणाचल को ध्यान देता है। मजबूर से लड़ाई करके हम 2007 में ट्रांस अरुणाचल का एक लिया, वो भी फेल करके मोदी जी आने के बाद पैसा भी दिया तभी काम शुरू हुआ। कि ये मुमकिन तभी हुआ है जब मोदी जी प्राइम मिनिस्टर बना है, बीजेपी सरकार में आया है।
Over this space advancement, Chief Minister of Haryana, Nayab Singh Saini, highlighted Prime Minister Narendra Modi's determined aim to introduce advanced technology in India. Take a listen.
11 वर्षों का कालखंड नहीं है, बल्कि यह भारत के नवनिर्माण, आत्मविश्वास और वैश्विक पटल पर एक सशक्त राष्ट्र के रूप में पुनर्स्थापना का एक स्वर्णिम ये गाथा भी है। देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में आज हमारा देश अपनी उन्नत प्रौद्योगिकी के बल पर न केवल मिसाइलें बना रहा है, बल्कि सूर्ययान, चंद्रयान और मंगलयान जैसे मिशन सफलतापूर्वक पूरे कर रहा है।
And now I am joined by DD India correspondent Meghna Dev from Ahmedabad on 11 years of Modi government and India's growth story. Meghna, good afternoon. 11 years of progress and a steady growth rate that India has witnessed. Development took place in each and every sector, and Ahmedabad prospered at a double rate too. Take us through the developmental phases witnessed in past 11 years, especially in Ahmedabad.
So, Deepika, the developmental journey of Ahmedabad, or we can say the region of Gujarat, is nothing that has happened only in the 11 years, because we have been seeing the Modi government, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi as the Chief Minister in Gujarat, in the past 2 decades. Before he became the Prime Minister of India, he was the Chief Minister. And definitely the kind of development that had happened in Gujarat, specifically in the infrastructure sector, specifically in the business, ease of doing business, a number of investments coming to India. For example, Suzuki came to Gujarat, 60 years ago. So that actually paints a picture how important was the kind of investment, the kind of manufacturing, the kind of companies that came to Gujarat very early on. And after, when we did actually see that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, from the Chief Minister, he became the Prime Minister in 2014, he implemented those kind of progressive or developmental aspects for different sectors in the country. Now we actually also have InSpace in Ahmedabad. InSpace definitely does hand-holding for space startups. Now India is also gaining a lot of ground in terms of space startups. We have Agnikul, Bellatrix and many more such space startups which have created a remarkable ground. We also see semiconductor plants coming in Gujarat. Sanand Micron is building its final assembly line, massive unit here in Sanand in Gujarat. We have Amul in Gujarat, which is constantly now expanding, worldwide in different countries. We also see that specifically when we're talking about women development for women-led development, we do see that not only the kind of schemes that have come for women, be the Ujjwala Yojana, but also the kind of schemes for MSMEs or loan schemes like the Mudra Yojana that have also helped women become independent, become self-reliant. So in different sectors, we are now seeing the kind of growth which is not only now limited to Gujarat, which is now also implemented across India. And Deepika, for that matter, we definitely see in the environmental sector, I would like to highlight here that recently the lion census completed in Gujarat, and we have seen a remarkable growth in the number of lions, the number of Asiatic lions here in Gir Forest and the nearby areas of the region. So definitely not only in terms of tech, we are talking about semiconductors, we are talking about 5G, 6G, and the technical aspects, we are talking about MSMEs, women-led development, we're talking about cooperatives, farming and agriculture, but now we are also talking about the environmental sector wherein, be it the forest green cover, be it the number of Asiatic lions, be it Project Tiger, and obviously Project Cheetah. these kind of initiatives also being taken in the past few years, which are now showing result and impact on ground.
All right, Meghna, we also have Akshay Dongre with us. Akshay, good afternoon. When we talk about India's defense capabilities, we have seen India growing in the past few years, and we have seen India's prowess in technological capabilities as well, and Operation Sindoor was a testimony to it. Akshay, when we talk about India's, self-reliance aspect, how far have we come in the past 11 years?
Yeah. Well, as far as India's self-reliance is concerned, be it in terms of defense or be it in terms of research and development, as far as other allied sciences are concerned, so India has done quite well. In fact, the testimony is the Operation Sindoor and how the homegrown tech was at the mainstay of attacks against terror infrastructure inside Pakistan, which started from BrahMos, which is a joint venture between India and Russia. And the kind of pace that it has gotten as far as more manufacturing plant is definitely not only going to boost India's defense, but also make India a major exporter of these kind of supersonic missiles. You have Tejas Mark 1A and Mark 2 are also being planned. AMC has gotten a green flag, that is the advanced medium combat aircraft, a fifth generation fighter jet that can in fact be one of the most high-tech fighter jets around anywhere in the world. So that is also in the pipeline as far as R&D is concerned. From land to sea, from air to even in the space sector, everywhere India has expanded in the last 10 years. And let me give you an example. The biggest one is the INS Vikrant, that is the indigenous homegrown aircraft carrier. The Navy currently has a capability of manufacturing about 75% of their equipment indigenously. When you look at the Army, then India is manufacturing AK rifles for the armed forces. It is manufacturing its own Arjun tank for again the Indian Army, Pinaka rocket launcher missiles. Then while you have S-400 from Russia, you also have Akash air defense system that protected the Indian skies, along with S-400 and other kind of indigenous air defense systems. So they have literally saved lives. If I have to be concise, they literally saved lives. They saved lives of thousands of people against attacks by Pakistan. The prowess was very recently demonstrated of our indigenous capabilities and the way we are moving towards self-reliance. Because while Pakistan had gotten support from countries like Turkey, while India has gotten support from other countries, it did not require equipment directly being flown at the time of war. It could manufacture its own defense equipment. So that is a testimony to the Make in India story of the last 11 years.
All
Back
right,
to you,
thank you.
Deepika.
Thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on India's defense capabilities. Coming back to you, Meghna, we were talking about the development progress that Ahmedabad has made so far, but also when we talk about from business point of view, the economy has also flourished from Ahmedabad, and now we can see the reflection of it when we talk about India's progress becoming the fourth largest economy overall.
Absolutely. And Deepika, in these sectors, we are talking about energy sector. Gujarat houses one of the biggest solar parks in India. We are talking about, the road, railways, the ports, the Mundra port, the Kandla port, the kind of, we can actually see that the kind of, not only in these sectors, but also the textile sector, gold and diamond sector, when we're talking about Surat. There are different aspects to it now. Now we are actually seeing that Surat has also become a hub for lab-grown diamonds. Not only we see progress that had happened during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's tenure in Gujarat as a chief minister, but now we also see the kind of holistic growth, multi-dimensional growth that's happening across India. We see better connectivity to different regions in Gujarat. We see good connectivity to Bhuj, to far long places, to Abu. When we go to Rajasthan, we see Mount Abu, from Banaskantha to Mount Abu, all the roads. We're talking about Vande Bharat trains, multiple trains to Rajasthan, to MP, to Maharashtra. This helps the business men commute easier, commute faster. We have, time and again seen different editions of the Vibrant Gujarat Summit. Time and again, number of investors from across the globe come to the Vibrant Gujarat Summit to invest, to see the kind of capacities that Gujarat has built in the past, couple of decades to actually have it as a realization that big companies, big manufacturers can come to Gujarat and set up the units. And now not only it is limited to Gujarat, we have been seeing semiconductor, talks of different semiconductor companies coming to Jaipur. We are seeing a number of different ports, number of shipping industries actually setting up their units in different areas. We are seeing, obviously, Akshay spoke about defense manufacturing. We're talking about the textile sector. We're talking about railway bridges. A lot of things in terms of manufacturing have also happened.
All right.
Besides, when we're talking about tourism as well as education, we are now seeing a number of institutes of national importance coming up in different areas, airports coming up in different areas. Tourism, with obviously the religious and cultural importance and the kind of corridors that have been built across the places of religious importance, have also boosted tourism. So we definitely see a holistic, multi-dimensional growth and the impact on the ground, the work which has happened in the past 1 decade. And I would like to, sum up with that the work that has been done in the past 5 years, the impact will now start showing up when we are actually seeing that it's just the first year
as India is on
its
its way to become the developed nation by the year 2047. That's the target. Thank you so much, Meghna, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on India's developmental journey as the Modi government completes its 11 years. And on the completion of 11 years of NDA government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the head of BAPS Hindu Temple in Abu Dhabi, Swami Brahma Vihari Das, praised Prime Minister Modi for his dedicated leadership, noting his efforts to strengthen India and uplift the world.
Never tire, never retire, and never expire from doing great work. He's making India great, but at the same time, he's also making the world greater. We pray for our Prime Minister and we ask everybody to help him, help India to greater and greater heights.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Up next, we'll get you more details on why US President Donald Trump rejected Iran's latest reply to a nuclear proposal. Russia launches prolonged drone attack on Ukraine in the early hours of Tuesday. And first snowfall of season turns New South Wales town white.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Well, on the ongoing anti-ICE protests, the United Nations has urged for joint efforts to prevent the escalation of militarization in Los Angeles. Deputy spokesperson for UN Secretary General Farhan Haq has emphasized the importance of joint efforts of local, state and federal authorities to de-escalate the unrest in Los Angeles.
We certainly hope that all parties on the ground will de-escalate the situation. We do not want to see any further militarization of this situation, and we encourage the parties at the local, state, and federal levels to work to do that.
In another incident, Australia's 9 News US reporter Lauren Thomasy was hit by a rubber bullet in Los Angeles on Sunday during protests against US President Donald Trump's immigration policies. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on Tuesday said that images of Australian journalists injured during protests were horrific. He added that his government had contacted the US over the incident.
Well, I spoke with Lauren this morning. And she's going okay. She's pretty resilient, I've got to say. But that footage was horrific. That was the footage of an Australian journalist doing what journalists do at their very best, which is to go into an environment that's not comfortable, but where in LA it is not unreasonable to think that she would not have been targeted with a rubber bullet. It is not unreasonable to think that she could go about her coverage clearly, as people can see the footage, clearly identified as media. And so we have already raised these issues with the US administration. We don't find it acceptable that it occurred, and we think the role of the media is particularly important.
Earlier on Monday, US President Donald Trump has sent additional 2,000 National Guards after it ordered active duty 700 Marines into Los Angeles. He vowed those protesting immigration arrests would be hit harder than ever. The relationship between US President Donald Trump and California Governor Gavin Newsom has reached a breaking point now. Trump said he supported Newsom's arrest, a threat Newsom slammed as authoritarian. It came after Newsom slammed the move of activating the National Guard as deranged. Democrats have labelled it as an unnecessary provocation. At least 56 people were arrested over 2 days and 5 officers suffered minor injuries in LA, while about 60 people were arrested in protests in San Francisco. And to get us the latest on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Jessica Taneja. Good afternoon, Jessica. Now, Trump sends another 2,000 National Guards and 700 Marines to LA on 4th day of unrest despite the internal disagreements. But is it helping in any way to control the protests?
Well, it certainly is not, Deepika. If you look at the situation on ground right now with Donald Trump and, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, pretty much the political gaffe or the political infighting that we're witnessing right now, along with the protest in LA, the second largest city of the United States of America, is perhaps sending out a message that things are not all right. As you said, there have been deployments of the National Guard as well as the Marines. But what we're given to understand from various reports in the US that only 300 National Guards are present in the city at this point, but the 2,000 additional National Guards along with the 700 Marines that Donald Trump has promised would be mobilized in case the situation worsens has not happened yet, but his casual remarks or his suggestions perhaps for calling or for the arrest of Governor Gavin Newsom certainly hasn't gone down well. Apart from that as well, how the entire protests swelled in the city of LA over the weekend, particularly because of Trump's anti-immigration policy, something that he is set to deliver on and convincingly is going ahead with the kind of initiatives and policies he had promised. For example, your immigration and enforcement agencies are also at the site, especially the ICE, which is the Immigration Customs Enforcement agents. They have been, going out to various of these locations in LA. Now, LA, as our viewers would know, the city has a lot of migrant workers, particularly from the nations, that is Guatemala, Honduras, as well as El Salvador. And a lot of people, the labor force working in restaurants and the garment factories have been affected by these anti-immigrant raids and being questioned quite so frequently. So part of the protesters are the people who are against the human rights violations being meted out to these particular individuals who are working in the city of LA, and some, as the police, the LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department spokesperson also said a short while ago, are professional protesters. So it's difficult to discern, and time will tell as to what led to this the rise of the protests, which continue till Monday, and as we speak as well, things are not calm in the city of LA, and perhaps a very concerning moment for the entire polity of America as to how this incident now explains what a country which has been at the helms of democracy for more than 80 years is going to do.
All right. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us and bringing us the latest on this issue. Moving on, Iran has announced that a new round of nuclear talks with the United States is scheduled for Sunday, following President Donald Trump's earlier announcement that it was expected to take place on Thursday. Now, Trump has rejected the Iranian counter-proposal in ongoing nuclear talks as unacceptable and warned that the failure to reach an agreement would bring death and destruction for Iran. Here's a report.
US President Donald Trump said Monday that new US-Iran talks this week could make clear if a nuclear deal is possible to avoid military action as Tehran readies counter-proposal on a potential agreement. Iran's foreign ministry said Tuesday that the new round of nuclear talks with the United States was being planned for Sunday after President Donald Trump said it was expected on Thursday. Trump called Iran tough negotiator and said the biggest disagreement remains over uranium enrichment. Trump also confirmed a recent call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, during which they discussed Iran and Lebanon amid other regional developments.
They are good negotiators, but they're tough. Sometimes they can be too tough. That's the problem. So we're trying to make a deal so that there's no destruction and death. Well, they're just asking for things that you can't do. They don't want to give up what they have to give up. You know what that is. They seek enrichment. We can't have enrichment. We want just the opposite. And so far, they're not there. I hate to say that because the alternative is a very, very dire one, but they're not there. They have given us their thoughts on the deal, and I said, it's just not acceptable.
Iran's Atomic Energy Organization had said it would never accept 0% uranium enrichment, calling the US demands excessive. Meanwhile, Iran has confirmed that it plans to present its own proposal for the nuclear deal. According to Ismail Baghei, spokesperson of Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the counter-proposal will be submitted to the US through Oman once finalized.
The US proposal lacked such specifics and was not the outcome of the previous 4 or 5 rounds of negotiations. We will soon present our own proposed plan, once finalized, to the other side through Oman. Our plan is reasonable, logical, and balanced, and we strongly recommend that the American side seize this opportunity. It is certainly in the United States' interest to take this proposal seriously and consider it carefully.
The disagreement over uranium enrichment is at the center of the standoff. Iran views enrichment as a right that cannot be compromised, while the US considers it a concern due to potential nuclear weapon development. This is the first clear sign from Tehran that it will not accept the current US proposal. Since April, both countries are trying to form a new agreement after the US exited the original deal in 2018 under Trump's leadership. Bureau Report, DD India.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Third edition of Jaipur Literature Festival opens a literary bridge between India and the world in Spain. Chief of the Air Staff wishes Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla as he prepares to embark on historic space mission. Up next, we'll get you the latest on IMD warnings and weather predictions.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar.
It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Bye.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching the India News Hour. Time now to quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. Prime Minister Modi hails unprecedented growth of India's defence sector in last 11 years, expresses pride and collective resolve of the citizens to propel India towards greater self-sufficiency. Los Angeles protests over immigration raids escalate in scale and order. Trump deploys Marines in the city even as California governor vows to sue Trump administration. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar addresses Indian community in Belgium, Luxembourg, discusses steady progress of India-Belgium ties and engagement with the European Union. Well, in the past 11 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's policies are turning Bharat into a global defence exporter. India's defence sector is soaring with record-breaking exports, showcasing the strength of self-reliance. From 1,941 crore rupees in 2014 to 23,662 crore rupees in 2024, India's defence exports have skyrocketed by over 1,100%. Now over 100 countries rely on India for radars, protective gears, drones and battlefield tech. Let's now take a look at the transformative change that have taken place in India's defence, security and strategic outlook through a series of posts on social media platform X. Government highlighted remarkable achievements and progress made in this absolutely crucial sector. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh took to social media to underline Prime Minister's role in making India a powerful nation. In a post on X, he said, and I quote, "In the 11 years of Raksha Shakti, India's defence sector has undergone a historic transformation under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's inspiring leadership, which has resulted into stronger borders, modern armed forces, indigenous weapons, record defence exports and global trust, a proud stride towards self-reliance." In another post on X, the government highlighted 11 years of protecting the nation and shaping the future. From defending the borders to redefining global partnerships, the last 11 years have marked a bold new era in India's defence and strategic posture. India's defence exports now reached more than 100 countries, up from zero in 2014. Prime Minister Modi's vision of a self-reliant India is securing a global position with advanced military technology. India's defence sector is soaring with record-breaking exports, showcasing the strength of self-reliance. From 1,940 crore rupees in 2014-2015 to 23,622 crore rupees in 2024-25, India's defence exports have skyrocketed. With 50,083 crore rupees investment in defence corridors, India is expanding its manufacturing capabilities to meet national and global defence needs. The BrahMos missile contract signed in the year 2024 for more than 19,518 crore rupees is set to enhance Indian Navy's combat strength and national security. India's defence production has reached 1,27,434 crore rupees, marking 174% increase from 46,429 crore rupees in 2014. With initiatives like Make in India, Prime Minister Modi is making Bharat a global leader in indigenous defence manufacturing. From surgical strikes that echoed across border to daring rescue operations like Operation Ganga and Kaveri, Prime Minister Narendra Modi transformed India's vision of security into a reality. A bold stride towards security, self-reliance and global trust, India's defence sector is shaping a resilient tomorrow. 23,622 crore rupees defence exports in 2024-25 to 100 plus countries. And not only this, 174% growth in indigenous production to 1.27 lakh crore rupees. India's first multi-role combat helicopter, Prachand, combines stealth, power and advanced technology. Built for precision ground attacks and aerial combat, it stands as a symbol of Bharat's self-reliance and defence innovation. India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, is a marvel of engineering with a flight deck the size of 2 football fields and over 2,200 compartments. The largest and most complex warship ever built in the country, it symbolizes India's growing maritime strength and self-reliance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's policies are turning Bharat into a global defence exporter. Over 100 countries now rely on India for radars, protective gears, drones and battlefield technology. Now, since the abrogation of Article 370, J&K has witnessed a remarkable shift. Terror incidents have dropped and stone pelting has nearly vanished. With curfews rare and tourism becoming, the region is now embracing peace, progress and new possibilities. Moving on, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is visiting Belgium that commenced with discussions on combating terrorism and bolstering bilateral ties with his Belgian counterpart. Dr. S. Jaishankar also held wide-ranging discussions on deepening cooperation including trade, development, investment, technology, defence and security, pharmaceuticals, clean energy and mobility. Belgium is the first stop in Dr. S. Jaishankar's week-long visit to Europe. During his week-long visit to Europe, Dr. S. Jaishankar also held talks with the leaders of the European Union and France to boost bilateral ties and reaffirm India's policy of zero tolerance against terrorism. Dr. S. Jaishankar also interacted with members of the Indian community of Belgium and Luxembourg, discussed with them the steady progress of India-Belgium ties and engagement with the European Union. Dr. Jaishankar apprised them of the efforts at countering terrorism and ensuring progress and prosperity of India. Dr. Jaishankar emphasized on Belgium's need to adapt the idea of Atmanirbhar Bharat, commending India-Belgium relations.
Things are happening in the world, particularly in respect of Europe itself. There is a much sharper interest in Europe to build ties, stronger ties with India. I think part of it is the direction in which the world is going. There is an increasing sense that, look, all countries, I mean, in a way, you know what, we used to speak about Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think there is also Atmanirbhar Europe now in the making. They realize that, look, many of the problems of Europe have to be addressed by Europe itself, that they have to stand more on their own feet, and therefore they also need more friends. They need stronger relationships with other countries, and I think that's very much kind of a thinking which is driving the process. Now,
India's Minister of Commerce and Industry, Piyush Goyal, is in Switzerland, where he met with Gay Bernard Pammelin, who is a Swiss federal councillor and head of the Department of Economic Affairs. During his interaction, Piyush Goyal discussed opportunities to enhance bilateral trade and investment, emphasizing India's strong economic fundamentals and investor-friendly policies. The minister also called it as a proud moment and a reflection of the long-standing artistic and cultural ties between India and Switzerland. Piyush Goyal met the chairman and committee members of the recently established Institute of Chartered Accountants of India's Zurich chapter. They had a detailed discussion on promoting India's fintech expertise and collaboration opportunities in the banking, financial services and insurance sector, especially in the innovative startup ecosystem. Later, the minister met with Indian business delegates and held insightful conversations on exciting opportunities, partnerships and new avenues for trade and investment. India's Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar will deliver a keynote address at International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance in Stockholm, Sweden. He would speak at conference on electoral integrity with areas including disinformation, digital disruption, electoral security, climate-related risk and the role of artificial intelligence in elections. As the world's largest democracy, India has maintained a long-standing partnership with International IDEA, where policy makers and institutional leaders deliberate on contemporary challenges to electoral integrity. Moving on, the flood situation in Assam, a state in northeastern state India, is showing signs of improvement, though challenges persist across several districts. The SDRF, DDRF, inland and water transport, fire and emergency services, local administration officers are on carrying out the rescue operations relentlessly. On Thursday, 126 medical teams were deployed, with Kachar alone set up 88 teams. The SDRF teams rescued over 173 people through 17 boats that were deployed in the state. Over 41,000 flood victims are taking shelter in 175 relief camps set up, and over 2.1 lakh non-camp inmates are being provided immediate aid relief in 210 relief distribution centers. The number of flood-affected people has reduced to over 1.6 lakhs across 9 districts. Train services in southern Assam continue to be affected due to rising water levels on railway tracks. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma has been actively assessing the situation on the ground, visiting relief camps in districts like Halakandi and Sribhumi. The Indian Meteorological Department has issued a yellow alert for all the northeastern states, forecasting heavy rainfall at isolated places over Assam and Meghalaya. On the other hand, the Jammu region of Jammu and Kashmir, a union territory of India, is grappling with severe heat wave conditions and now in its 4th consecutive day of extreme temperatures. Now, today marks a significant point as it is the first time this season that temperatures in Jammu have consistently crossed the 40 degrees Celsius mark, signaling an intense and unrelenting summer spell. 5 districts in the region recorded temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius on Monday. Samba was the hottest, hitting a scorching 46.6 degrees Celsius, which is the highest in the entire region. Jammu city itself registered 44.3 degrees Celsius. According to the Indian Meteorological Department, the current heat wave expected to persist until the 13th of June. However, a silver lining is on the horizon as the monsoon is projected to arrive in the 3rd week of June, promising much needed respite. And to get you more on this, I'm joined by Ankush Sharma from Jammu. Good afternoon, Ankush. How are the locals bracing for heatwave conditions predicted for Jammu there?
Good afternoon, Deepika. The extreme heat wave continued from last 4 days in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in Jammu district. And the 5 districts in Jammu region are affected a lot due to heat wave. And yesterday, the temperature was observed 44 degrees Celsius in Jammu district alone and 46 degrees Celsius in Samba district, which is highest in Jammu and Kashmir region. And
all right, we'll try connecting with him once again, Ankush Sharma, if he's getting our audio. All right, thank you so much, Ankush, for joining us. Moving on. In a vibrant celebration of words, ideas and cultures, the 3rd edition of the Jaipur Literature Festival in Spain has once again opened a literary bridge between India and the world. Celebrated in the Campo Grande Park, amidst nature, the festival cast a spotlight on culinary narratives, tracing the rich flavors and food stories that journeyed from the kitchens of India to the tables of Spain, creating a tapestry of taste, tradition and transformation.
Very, very, very proud of the GLF in Valladolid, Spain festival, because it's a bilingual festival. We've broken out of the power and hegemony of English and entered one of the great literary languages in the world, which is Spanish. And these are bilingual sessions in Spanish and in English, but we've had Sanskrit sessions here. The world literature is a multilingual thing. It goes beyond the boundaries of just words to thoughts, ideas, narratives.
One of the key highlights was the compelling session titled How the World Made the West, where historians and thinkers challenged Eurocentric narratives and explored how civilizations across Asia and Africa shaped what we now call the Western world. Music lovers were treated to soul-stirring music concerts featuring the Indian cello, while early risers welcomed the day with calming yoga sessions, offering a taste of India's ancient practice to the global audience.
I haven't prepared them for it yet. And to see dancing in front.
Spain was created to build a bridge between India and Spain and Europe and really explore how words can be bridges. In today's very divided world, literature and ideas and innovation can come together as this vital bridge in taking a society, innovation and technology forward.
JLF 3rd edition in Valladolid to be heard across the world thanks to this platform, and to also listen to voices from across the US, United Kingdom, from other countries, and the Spanish voices, which are very important. To go to a park and see Gurudev Tagore's statue just across the hotel was a big high for me.
Well, Shubhanshu Shukla is all set to become the first Indian to reach International Space Station and only the second ever in the orbit, an achievement that India hopes will be a stepping stone for its own maiden human spaceflight program. Ragini Sudhir Chaure reports.
On 10th of June, another Indian, Shubhanshu Shukla, after Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, will take a shot at history by becoming the first to travel to the International Space Station. Born on 10th October 1985 in the Indian city of Lucknow, Shukla was commissioned into the Indian Air Force in 2006. A test pilot, Group Captain Shukla, has logged more than 2,000 hours of flying. He has flown combat jets such as the Su-30 MKI and Jaguar bombers. ISRO chairperson V. Narayanan says that the benefit India will get from this mission is phenomenal in terms of the training, exposure to the facilities, and the experience of jointly conducting experiments in space. The crew is expected to spend 14 days aboard the International Space Station engaging in science, diplomacy, and public outreach.
I have a personal agenda of capturing my experience on board this station through pictures and videos so that I can share these with all the Bharatvasis back home. I want them to share this thrilling experience through my eyes. For I truly believe that even though I, as an individual, am traveling to space, this is the journey of 1.4 billion people.
The proud parents of Shubhanshu Shukla, who is set to become the first Indian to travel to the International Space Station, are praying for the success of his mission.
भगवान से यही प्रार्थना करते हैं कि अच्छे से अच्छे उनका मिशन कंप्लीट हो और अच्छे से सब पूरे भारत का नाम रोशन हो. हम घर वालों का तो नाम रोशन है ही, हम लोग का सीना चौड़ा हो गया है गर्व से.
From the cockpit of a Sukhoi to the spacecraft cabin, the trajectory of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is now headed beyond the Earth. When the engines ignite and the Falcon 9 lifts off, it won't just be one man heading to space. It will be a nation taking its next confident step among the stars. Bureau Report, DD India.
As Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla prepares to embark on the historic Exam Force space mission tomorrow, the Chief of the Air Staff, along with all Air Warriors of the Indian Air Force, extended their heartfelt wishes to him and the entire crew for a safe, successful and groundbreaking journey to International Space Station. This mission marks a momentous occasion, not just for the Indian Air Force, but for the nation as a whole. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. West Indies wicketkeeper batter Nicholas Pooran announces retirement from all forms of international cricket. Sama Macintosh smashes decade-old world record in women's 200-meter individual medley. And K-pop superstars officially discharged on Tuesday after completing 18 months of mandatory military service.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now let's get you business updates. The World Bank updated the global poverty lines in June 2025. As standards of living worldwide have evolved over the time, so has how we measure the global poverty. As per the data, in 2025, Bangladesh faces economic slowdown and rising extreme poverty, rising to 9.3% amid political uncertainty and rapid urbanization, which has worsened income inequality in cities. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's growth remains modest due to ongoing crisis impacts in and global challenges, with the projected current account deficit, inflation below targets, and persistent debt pressures. The report stated that Pakistan's extreme poverty rose from 4.9% to 16.5%, and overall poverty increased from 39.8% to 44.7% between the year 2017 and 2021. The economy heavily relied on loans, securing 25 IMF bailouts totaling $44.57 billion and borrowing $38.8 billion from major development banks. Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs Nirmala Sitharaman is currently chairing the 29th meeting of the Financial Stability and Development Council in Mumbai. The meeting, aimed at assessing India's financial landscape amidst global economic uncertainties, is being held in the presence of Union Minister of State for Finance Pankaj Chaudhary, Reserve Bank of India Governor Sanjay Malhotra, Finance Secretary, Secretary of the Department of Economic Affairs Ajay Seth, and Secretary of the Department of Financial Services M. Nagaraju Madirala, and other secretaries from the Department of Revenue were also present at the meeting. Now, as a trade war started by US President Donald Trump, who has put tariffs on goods from almost all the countries, and it has led to a rebalancing of trade already. Lars Holte is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Good afternoon, Lars. What are we seeing at the latest trade numbers?
Thanks for having me. Well, it's interesting how fast things are changing, especially regarding trade between China and the US. While Trump in the US has obviously levied import fees on all sorts of goods from almost all countries around the globe, he has hit no one harder than China. The US, of course, has a huge trade imbalance with China, and that was at the root of Trump's recent action, including tariffs recently up to 145% against China. Now, nobody at this point knows how the relationship between those two countries will end up looking after current talks. Rare earth exports are playing into this at least as much as trade deficits and tariffs. But looking at the very latest numbers, we are seeing that China's exports to the US fell 35% in May compared to a year earlier. China exported $28.8 billion worth of goods to the US in May compared to $44 billion a year earlier. Imports dropped as well by a much smaller amount, but that's a different story, as that has a lot more to do with economic challenges within China and not so much actually with trade. So back to the trade story, and another interesting figure pops out. China's exports in general actually grew by almost 5%.
And now let's take a look at world weather stories. Canada's military has begun airlifting residents from the remote Sandy Lake First Nation in northern Ontario as wildfires spread from the prairies into the province. Recently, over 30,000 residents across Alberta and Manitoba have been swept away. Fires currently remain in Ontario's northwest and have not reached the densely populated south. People of the New South Wales in Australia woke to the first snow of the season. The last significant snowfall in central tablelands occurred in 2021, making this event a rare and delightful surprise for the residents. In contrast, nearby Mount Canobolas, that rises just under 1,400 meters, frequently receives snow, attracting both the locals and the visitors eager to enjoy winter wonderlands. Moving on now, let's get you the latest updates from the world of sports, to begin with cricket first. West Indies wicketkeeper batter Nicholas Pooran announced his retirement from all forms of international cricket on Tuesday. Cricket West Indies thanked Pooran for his contributions to the national team in a statement as well. Pooran hung his boots at the international level as the most capped West Indies player in T20 internationals with 106 matches and the leading T20I run scorer with 2,275 runs. In ODI ICC, he has played 61 matches and scored 1,983 runs. His last ODI match came in 2023 against Sri Lanka, while his final T20I was against Bangladesh last year. In IPL 2025 with Lucknow Super Giants, Pooran notched up his best ever season in the league with the bat. He scored 524 runs across 14 matches. In swimming, Sama Macintosh smashed the decade-old world record in women's 200-meter individual medley on Tuesday. Macintosh touched the wall in 2 minutes and 5.7 seconds for her second record at the Canadian swimming trials. The 18-year-old eclipsed Hungarian Katinka Hosszút's mark of 2 minutes and 6.12 seconds, set at the 2015 World Championship to become the first woman to duck under 2 minutes and 6 seconds. It was triple Olympic gold medalist Macintosh's second world record of the meet, following her 400-meter freestyle world record on Saturday. The gifted Canadian teenager had also impressed during Sunday's victory for the 800-meter freestyle, clocking the third fastest time in the history in an event not typically regarded as her strongest. Before we close, here's an update. K-pop superstars RM and V of BTS were officially discharged on Tuesday after completing 18 months of mandatory military service in South Korea. Now, this week, a total of 4 BTS members are finishing their service. 2 others completed their last year, while the final member, Suga, who has been serving in an alternative non-combat role, will be discharged later this month. A great news for all the BTS fans. And that's all for this edition of the India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from the country and the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.